package with breaking details just minutes ago. I thank you for joining me on the most up-to-date recording to get you into Monday morning on your second stimulus check and second stimulus package. What I'm going to do in this recording is I'm going to go over where we are on the deal. What are the deal items? I'm going to go over what's in third stimulus because I was getting some overlap. I'm going to go over the nuances of the check and the routing times and all that, and then I'll get to what Purple Power Live is usually about, which is state stimulus checks, rent stimulus, and more. This may be a slightly longer recording than usual. I'm going to try to get it in about 30 minutes. There's a lot in this recording, so please stay with me throughout the entire recording. First, I'm going to start with what's going on with the second stimulus package. That's what you've been hearing over the last few days. Earlier today, a deal was announced for the second stimulus package. It is a deal, it's not a law. There may not be an actual bill written, says a series of news reports. I have a very in-depth printout from Chuck Schumer that details the provisions. Some of the details of the provisions are vague, but the provisions are shockingly great. It includes provisions none of us knew were in there, are shockingly incredible, and then leaves out one or two that absolutely should be in there. Where are we procedurally before I get to substantively what the provisions are? Procedurally, where we are tonight is the House has passed, at the time of this recording, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, a extension until Tuesday, and that the Senate may not pass the extension until tomorrow, and then that goes to the president. The proposed anticipated schedule that they want, they change it by the hour, is to have the House and the Senate and the president vote on everything on Tuesday. Series of Republicans came out today and said, you can't give me a monstrous bill and tell me to go read it and vote the same minute. You're not going to do that, and I'm not going to sign it. So, wow. There are now Republicans and Democrats on both sides that say, don't shove a bill down my throat and tell me to read it on a Sunday night at 5 o'clock at night and tell me to go vote. I'm not going to do that. That's not how I do my job. So no one is agreeing to vote on a rushed basis. That's really good. That's the first thing. Second, the provisions may still be maneuvered because a lot of people have been left in the dark. I have known more than most elected officials because the elected officials say they turn to the broadcast news reporters who follow by the minute. I was shocked by what's in here. I didn't see a lot of this coming. So that's the second thing. Let me go first to the check and then let me do the deal provisions. The check. The written word from Chuck Schumer is about as vacant and vague as possible. All it says is $600 for an adult, $600 for a child. Doesn't say anything else. Doesn't say anything else. Doesn't say how big the family is. Doesn't say anything about adult dependents. Doesn't say anything else. In the video before this, I went over the whole issue about how you get the check and the bank account and the routing. You got divorced, you got married, and the IRS. If you're concerned about how to get the check, watch that video before this. I'm going to be making the video 1,000 times after this again as well. The other deal provisions that are in this proposal are shockingly good. They came from nowhere. One, eviction moratorium. Thank goodness. Second, rent money. Yes, there's rent money in here. That came out of nowhere. SNAP, that came out of nowhere. Money for childcare, that came out of nowhere. Money for parents with children, that came out of nowhere. And daycare services. Money for if you are laid off because of money for paid leave, that came out of nowhere. Money that you can sort of get a deduction if you have been laid off or reduced hours so that you pay less of a tax burden next year, that came out of nowhere. And then and of course there is FPUC and UI that would both, and PUA, all three instruments would be continued forward to about March or April. If you are inactive, you would become reactive and they would move forward. There is no retroactiveness and you would continue forward. And the FPUC is $300 a week. There is nothing in there that says you can't get retroactive FPUC under Joe Biden. The presumption is that Joe Biden will cover that. The presumption is Joe Biden will cover that, but I'm going to get to third stimulus in a second. And finally, the big shocker that made me screaming from the top of the mountains out of nowhere. EIDL grant is in here. What? Where did that come from? EIDL grant is in here. And in the video, two videos before this, I went over that. And also, in the pinned comment to this video, and in the pinned comment up in here is the most comprehensive video I've made this afternoon about the deal provisions. You can watch that video. But the EIDL grant would mean that anyone who applied for the EIDL instrument at all since May and never got the grant would get the grant. Then new applicants would get the grant as well. This is not the remainder of the $10,000 grant. That's coming up in a second. Now, how about January stimulus? January stimulus, which is third stimulus, the third stimulus check and the third stimulus package, which is the term I'm going to be using on this channel, so you know what I'm referring to. This is Biden's stimulus, third stimulus check and third stimulus package. What will be in there? Nancy Pelosi spoke tonight about it and said she's immediately going to rush and start working on it. Please, Nancy, don't tell me you're going to start writing it in February. Write it now. I know you write really slowly, so start writing it right now. The deal provisions that will be in the third stimulus package per Joe Biden. First, $2,400 for SSI and SSDI. Second, the raise of your benefits lifetime up to 20%. Third, the new benchmark other than COLA. Then multiple stimulus checks. Then the remainder of your $10,000 EIDL grant, because by then Javita Carranza is gone. Then another round of PPP. Additionally, hazard pay. The amount of hazard pay dependent on if the Senate falls in Georgia or not. $10,000 hazard pay, essential workers, $13 an hour, January to 60 days after the pandemic. CDC grant, Lifeline grant, rent grant, and food grant. And those are the things that would come in January in the third stimulus package. The items and the amounts and the provisions, we don't know. But that is going to be a monster bill. Wall Street already tonight is responding positively to this proposal, and it should. The proposal prevents this country from going into a double dip recession and getting worse. It may flatten us and stabilize it. I don't think it's going to really boom us. This is not a booming stimulus package. This is something that will sort of stabilize the economy for a few weeks. Oh, I'm so sorry. I also left out. Joe Biden would also cover your FPUC retroactive in the third stimulus package, retroactive, and then going forward is $600 a week. How he's going to do $600 a week when you're already going forward at $300 a week, I assume he's going to override or rewrite the existing bill. I assume they've already thought this through. That's the only way I could figure this out, because it would make no sense if they've not thought about it. It's like, wait a second, you said you're going to do the same period. So why is Nancy talking going forward at $300 when you want to go forward at $600? Student loan debt repayment, student loan repayment, student loan payment moratorium, not in this thing from today. Yeah, it's not in there. Mortgage forbearance, not in this thing there. Shocking. There has to be those two things, and that's what I'm really, those are the two shocking ones. I was surprised they're excluded. But where we are is that this is not a law. This requires a unanimous vote. So one negative vote in the House, one negative vote in the Senate could kill this. And you never know. I mean, you can have Ron Johnson kill it because he doesn't want a stimulus check. You could have people kill it because they want to go the other way. They don't want to give you any stimulus. So there you go. And with that, now at the 8-minute mark, we are up to date on what is happening from second stimulus, which is this, and third stimulus. With that, let's turn to your CARES Act 1 money. What's important to understand is that there's a lot of different money coming to you over the next few weeks. There is this second stimulus. There is state stimulus, and then there's third stimulus. And what's important to understand is that one may come faster than the other. Let me tell you routing times. Routing times, the fastest things are always stimulus checks from the government. The slowest things are rent stimulus and hazard pay and things like that. And the fastest things are state stimulus. So the state stimulus I'm going over now, which I've been doing for about 14 days. And if you've not subscribed, please subscribe at the 10-minute mark. I've not even said that. Please subscribe to this channel. Today we reached 350,000 subscribers. You know, when I go live a lot, I forget to say to please subscribe. And so I really encourage you, if you're tuning in, to subscribe to this channel and also hit the alert button on the front of this channel so you do not miss a video when I go live or tape. Today had 11 videos, and I think I've been live 5 times or 4 times, which is insane. So please go to the front of this channel, subscribe, also hit the alert button, and also like this video. This is the most comprehensive video you're going to have tonight on stimulus. There is no other update after this video from anyone that can trump this, because this is the most up-to-date information of where we are. We have no sense from anyone if they are going to object to the second stimulus package of today. When asked for comment, everyone's saying, I have no comment. And with that, let me see if there's any questions of what I said before I get to state stimulus. Before I get to state stimulus, is there any questions from second stimulus or third stimulus? Adult dependence, we know nothing about adult dependence at the moment. Cool hair. I appreciate that. Trump will veto. Maybe he'll veto. Why are they PUA question? Why are they giving me PUA and PUC popped up on my PUI portal? Don't know. What has Biden said about third stimulus? Everything that I just said to you. Everything that I said to you is from Biden. It's not from Nancy. Everything that I say from you is third stimulus from Biden. Also, Biden wants to have infrastructure, but I don't really cover that. If you filled out SBA, do you have to reapply for EIDL? No. This goes back to an old video on this channel, which I made a couple of times. An old video I made on this channel a couple of times was you qualify for something that ran out of money and you're waiting to get the new money. And some people would do this tactic where they would reapply to trigger you already have a prior application on file. We're throwing away the new application, but it would trigger them to realize there's an application on file they haven't paid on. So you do not have to refile, but I do know people who have refiled to trigger them to look at the old application to pay it. Don't do anything yet. There is no EIDL grant to apply for yet. Will I get a stimulus if I'm not a American citizen? That's a wonderful question, Hayden. So the whole politicalness of the stimulus check is unknown tonight. Is it given to U.S. residents? Is it given to this? Is it given to people in prison? Is it given? I don't know anything about anything. So I can certainly guess that maybe it's not taken out for child support. Maybe it's not taken out for collections. But other than that, I don't know all these nuances that are very, very partisan. They're very big partisan issues. Is a 17-year-old an adult dependent? That's a great question. We don't know how they can define the age of adult dependency. It may be 17. When will we see the 300 in our account? Oh boy. Do you want me to do routing times? I can do routing time questions, because there's a lot of routing time questions on when you would see the things and the checks. Say yes or no on that. Screen froze. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let me go over that. The routing time for the stimulus check is, according to Steve Mnuchin's representation, is 10 days from the date at which it becomes law. So if it became law on Tuesday, you would add 10 days to that, but I would add 2 to 3 days for bank processing times, possibly. That's if you're signed up for electronic receipt, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, or you pay your checks electronically to the IRS. If you do paper check, you would add additional week. For anything for PUA, UI, or FPUC, you're going to expect a massive wait time. Big wait time. The wait time depends on your state. Every state is going to be different. I don't know about your particular state. It's dependent on how antiquated your state's unemployment department computers are. And the wait time will be anywhere from approximately 4 weeks to maybe as much as 12 weeks. And so you can expect a very big wait for UI, PUA, and FPUC money to land in your bank. Now, the only case in which you won't have a wait time is where your state has already extended the benefits. And that's why we're doing state stimulus, because state stimulus doesn't have a wait time. Uh, and there you go. Um, is the IRS accepting debit card info not on file? No. Do I think it's going to become law? Oh, that's a great question. So people are asking my opinion of the situation. Um, you know, I heard I heard the people who would be opposed to it talk today, and they were very grandstanding again and not saying that they don't like something or they're vowing to do something. And when asked to reach for comment about it, they refused to comment. So I think the people who had suggested they may block it are not going to block it. So I think it's going to pass. I think it's going to pass at this point. Will it get modified? It may get modified, but I don't think the numbers will get modified at the moment. But the strange thing with this adult dependence and the number of children suggests maybe that is still not worked out. Do you think it'll become law? Yeah, I think it's going to become law, and I think there's some stuff in here that's very bad, but there's some stuff that is good enough to have it make it law. Um, the the other provisions that were in there that I didn't go over included there's money for live venues, there's money for there's money for live venues and bars that would not normally be included, money for minorities that did not qualify for a round of PPP before, and there's paid sick leave, which was not normally in there, and then there's free broadband. There's a big provision for free broadband. When do I think it'll become law? Tuesday or Wednesday. Will California get a state stimulus? No, I do not believe the big states will ever send out a stimulus check. California, New York, New Jersey, Texas, Florida I don't believe will ever send out a state stimulus check. But they may do rent stimulus. For example, New York is doing rent stimulus. The whole state of New York is doing rent stimulus. So I do think they will do rent stimulus. Student loans not included. All right, with that, let's get to some purple power. Here, what's important to remember is that you have several steps for looking for rent. I'm going to go first over rent, then I'm going to go over utilities, and then I'm going to go over food, then gifts, and then state stimulus checks. Rent. There are a few organizations that are paying rent that are nonprofits, and they're paying rent in virtually states all across the country. And these are the ones you want to get a pen and paper and write them down. They are children's Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul, United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action. They are paying rent in places where your state, city, and county may not be paying rent. And they're also paying utilities where your city, state, or county may not also be paying rent. Again, that's United Way, Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul, and Community Action. Then we have certain states in which viewers have been reporting over the last 14 days that they have gotten paid rent from these private organizations. And when I report them on camera twice per day, first on the taped show, Purple, on afternoons LALATE, and then on Purple Power Live, I'm hearing a repeat back. A repeat means someone tells me they got paid from this organization, and then someone else a few days later says, I also got paid from the same organization in the same city or the same state. And so when I'm reading these off to you, I'll tell you where there's repeats, and repeats are very good. In Texas, St. Mary Magdalene paid rent for a viewer. In Kentucky, repeat. Community Ministries paid rent for a viewer. In New Jersey, United Way paid rent for a viewer. In Ohio, Repeat Community Action paid rent for a viewer. In Massachusetts, Interfaith Social Security paid rent for a viewer. In Phoenix, Repeat TCD paid rent for a viewer. In Alabama, 211. In Delaware, up to $10,000. In Texas, Catholic Charities paid rent for a viewer. Repeat, just many, many, many times. Let's continue. In Mississippi, viewers have gotten rent from 4 different organizations: Mercy House, Home Saver, Salvation Army, and MSHDA Eviction Diversion. In Rhode Island, viewers have gotten rent from 2 organizations: one, Crossroads; 2, Housing Authority, the Rhode Island Housing Authority. In Delaware, they got rent paid from 211. In Texas, they got paid rent from 211 as well. In El Paso, they got paid from Project Bravo, Repeat. In Indiana, they got paid by IndianaHousingNow.org, also a Repeat. In Indiana, they got paid rent by calling 211. In Las Vegas, they got paid rent from Clark County Services, Repeat and Repeat. In Kentucky, they got utilities paid by Community Action. In Pennsylvania, they got paid rent by United Way. In New York, they got paid rent by One Shot and by the state's rent program now in place. In Salvation, they got paid by in Michigan, they got paid by Salvation Army. In Arizona, they got paid by New Leaf. In Nebraska, they got paid by United Way. In City of Dallas, they got paid by cityofdallas.com. They got mortgage assistance from 877-GET-HOPE. They got mortgage assistance from Chase Mortgages. And then there have been state stimulus. Then there have been government rent stimuluses in several places across the country. And those rent stimulus places are: 1, City of Atlanta; next, Harrisburg, Atlanta, New York, counties across the entire state of Georgia, San Bernardino County. San Diego County was there, but is closed up. And so you see these, St. Louis County as well. So you see this recurring theme, which is really quite great, of rent stimulus being paid by private charities over and over again in the same location. And then from the same state agency, viewers have gotten rent paid in New Jersey from the government, have gotten paid rent in Alabama from the State Housing Authority, and Louisiana from the State Housing Authority, have gotten big rent in Massachusetts, New Jersey, West Virginia, California from Catholic Charities, in many places. Then let's go to the state stimulus checks. The state stimulus checks, these are checks that have either gone out or will go out, and they have all strange criteria. Not everyone qualifies. Maine, $600, Colorado, $375, New Mexico, $1,200, Oregon, $500, North Carolina, $335. In Houston, they did $1,200. Pennsylvania, pending. Also pending, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, and Delaware. Jacksonville, $1,000. Orange did $1,200 2 times. And then they did $1,000 a few days ago. Nome, Alaska, is doing it as well. Then also pending, Escambia County, Fort Worth, and Gadsden County. And there you go. Lot of things to get up to date about, and that is the latest. Now, any questions? Any questions about state stimulus, rent stimulus? Oh, utility stimulus. Virtually every utility company pays the utility stimulus. Food stimulus, the volunteers can help you. That's news.lalate.com/community. And then for toys, 16 years of age or younger, that's Catholic Charities, United Way, Salvation Army, and Toys for Tots. DC is doing $1,200 for DC residents. Oh, well, thank you. We just learned something tonight. So there's a Washington, D.C. stimulus check of $1,200 for residents. I forgot Michigan. Michigan's doing a massive stimulus. I covered that 2 nights ago as well. I forgot Michigan. Rent assistance in PA. Yes, viewers have gotten rent in PA. Can Trump go higher? Yes, he can veto it. Connecticut, nothing about Connecticut that I've heard. Missouri, rent in St. Louis, utilities everywhere. And 2 nights ago, we had four nonprofits paying four different viewers in Missouri. Ohio, community action, which I covered. Georgia, yeah, I covered Georgia for the state, and then also United Way. Some of these I'm trying to remember off of heart without looking up and down at the paper. Tennessee, Nashville, yes. Missouri, I just answered. Washington State, I don't remember Washington State by heart. Minnesota, I don't remember by heart either. Ohio, community action. Vozuela County maybe do rental assistance. I don't know where that is. No offense, I don't know where that is. Oh, Mercy House in Mississippi is going to help me. Some congratulations to Vivian. She got a repeat. So she heard one of my Mississippis. She's getting she's that's a repeat. There we go. Mercy House from Mississippi. Congratulations. LALATE, what do you think? Are you going to go live a lot tomorrow? Um, I think tomorrow may be a little bit more settled down. I think Tuesday may be the crazy day. I don't know. So will they send the rent money to us? Wait. So will they send rent money to the states for us to have to apply to get them assistance? Okay. So of all the instruments I covered on the channel, the only thing you do nothing to get, you do nothing, you sit back and have your donut, is stimulus checks. The federal stimulus check and the state stimulus check. That's presuming they know where you are. The IRS doesn't know where you are. You got to do a lot of stuff. But presuming everyone knows where you are to send you the money, that's the only instrument you don't have to do anything for. And also SSI and SSDI, that thing for Joe Biden in January. Everything else you have to do something. So everything else you have to physically do something. Arkansas. I haven't heard anything about Arkansas yet. Thank you, Denny. Will stimulus come out of taxes? Stimulus checks are not taxable. I hear they're cutting SNAP. No, I covered SNAP earlier in this video. And then in the pinned video to this video, I go over all the deal provisions very slowly as detailed by Chuck Schumer, and SNAP is included in there as well. Is it a done deal? No, it's not a done deal at all. They haven't even voted on it. Nebraska, I covered Nebraska just a second ago. The IG room just, oh boy, the IG room just locked up. Oh, someone's afraid to get a traffic ticket while watching me driving. Don't get a ticket. Thank you, Sandy. How about adult dependence? We have no clarity tonight about the adult dependence. If you don't know the whole history of the adult dependence, because I think you sort of need to know this, the history of the adult dependence is one news article that covered the subject. One news article caused pandemonium across YouTube and across the internet. And so I want you to understand that it was not something announced by a congressional leader. It was one news article in one place talked about the adult dependents not getting a stimulus check. There was no quote for the article. There was nothing about it. So that article created an enormous amount of chaos. We don't know if it's true or correct, or if it'll be proven wrong or proven right. So that's where we are on that adult dependent. Oh, thank you, Keith. Kenneth, I appreciate that. Any New York State stimulus. So New York is rent, Thank you, Armal. I appreciate that. Rhode Island, I just covered. If you missed anything that I covered in this video about the stimulus for your state, you can replay this replay this video. After the video is live, you can pull it back and refresh the video and play it again. Um, there you go. Uh, can Trump do executive order? Yes, absolutely. He can do executive order all the way into January. What if I rent and my utilities are combined? Can I get utilities paid? If so, how? Yeah, so when you're looking for rent stimulus, you just have to be able to prove it up. So for Jennifer, yeah, so if you're applying for your rent stimulus, all you have to be able to do is prove it up. And I know this is going to be a big issue when this second stimulus package is approved because it has rent stimulus in there. So ultimately, if you have a lease or you have a bill or you pay things, you have to prove it up. The whole nuance of I'm a roommate, and I pay my roommate something, or I rent a room. Those type of people are not going to get rent stimulus because it's the person who has the lease. It's the relationship between the leasee and the landlord. You have a lease with the landlord. Those are the people who are going to get the rent because they got to really confirm it very, very detailed. They're not going to do rent stimulus to sort of vague situations. Now, everything is sort of, private organizations may do stuff differently, but the federal government's going to be very, very sort of strict on things like that. How come Trump can't use, Trump can use that money. Trump can use the unused CARES Act 1 money and the PPP. He could use all that money. He's just not doing anything. And he's presumed to not going to be doing anything at all. It is not law yet. Hasn't been voted yet. There is no bill yet. Everything is going to move very quickly in 2 days. So if you don't like the deal provisions, if you want them to change the stimulus check amount, if you have something to say, continue the Twitter campaign. I don't want someone to say, did he stop the Twitter campaign as soon as the thing came out? No, 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 no. All my hashtags this today have had hashtag Senate vote no, hashtag House vote no. I've had that tweet, that hashtag in every video today that went out. Hashtag Senate vote no, hashtag House vote no, and hashtag Trump states vote no. Ultimately, we'll see what happens. I almost dropped something, but that's how we'll see how it kicks in. And there you go. So join me tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for early mornings LALATE, and then I'll be back for 6:30 a.m. There'll be a lot of stuff tomorrow. And thank you for a great day. 11 videos, 350,000 subscribers. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, hit the alert on the front channel so you get alert when a new video goes live. Tell your friends and neighbors to subscribe as well, and also like this video. Don't go, I have to go. And then if you did not watch the video that's in the pinned comment, that is the taped recording that is very, very detailed on all these second stimulus provisions of what's going to happen tomorrow and the day after. Have a great evening. Thank you for watching tonight. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and save LA for more.